Okay, so things caught up to me, and I have missed quite a few of these Glyos recaps that are supposed to be monthly, and I kind of missed a couple months here. So we got a lot to get through this time, and we're gonna just buzz through some of it as quickly as I can. But I do like starting these videos with some really weird rarity that I came across, and this one is certainly in the weird category. Of course, this is a Robo Force Maxx Zero. This is the Mystery Maxx. Now, this one is strange. As you can see, he is made up of a multitude of plastic colors. This is combined from mystery modules that you got as part of Club Zeton, or Club Zeton, or Club Zeton. I don't know the pronunciation, but you only had a limited time to sign up for it. And if you did sign up for it, it meant that every so often you would get a little piece of a Maxx Zero sent to you in the mail. And it would be in whatever color it just showed up in, just randomly. You had no way of knowing what it would be until it hit your doorstep, and there was a code of silence on the whole thing until it was finally complete. Well, recently, the last module went out and it was complete, and it resulted in this very play school looking guy who's far more colorful than Robo Force tends to be. Now, this does have an homage. This is based on an actual toy robot, and I'll give you a hint. It's a little bit more of that blue that's toward the back than the yellow that shows on the front. You'll see a lot more blue in the final toy. This was beyond even my obscure toy robot knowledge, so props to John Kent. Wow, you know your robots. So, that is such a bizarre figure, and a true test of the color balance on my camcorder. But that was a specialty release that you had to be part of the secret club to get. Let's talk about the retail stuff anyone had the chance to grab. So, over here, kick the camera. If you missed Glyos in the last few months, here's what you missed. Whew. Boy, we got a lot to cover. You'll excuse me if I forget some of the months that these were released in, so we're just going to go through by maker. So we'll continue with the Robo Force and meet the opposite of the Mystery Maxx, as we have a brand new Zeroid release in very stark white and black color schemes. We saw this with the original Gly Armor release, and it's a very Stormtrooper-esque design, and of course that's fairly appropriate because it's all been about Star Wars for the last year, hasn't it? So, yep, I like this black on white, very stark color scheme. It's very simple, but it never fails to look ominous and impressive. Speaking of, he also released the Darkness Soldier, the second release for the design in the same black and white, and man, it looks so much better. You remember the original release was in white and red and had some strange paint apps, like bits of white across the face that made it look like it had this weird mustache. All of that is gone. This is a very serious trooper, and very much I can call this a Darkness Soldier now. This definitely feels the part of the villainous soldier group. That works. That looks really, really cool, and I was happy to see it get a release that I could like really gel with. So that was cool. Robo Force also saw the release of a brand new DX Sentinel, which restored Sentinel to his original white and yellow color scheme from the 80s Robo Force toy line. It also had, for a very rare thing, which was the ability to buy a blank Robo Force kit in pure white. I got one of those waiting to be a custom one day, so I don't know. We'll get around to it one of these days. So that is what Toyfinity was up to, and man, this is going to be hard to make space for everybody. I'm going to go to the Kabuto Mushi by Marty Hansen, the God Beast himself, and we're going to start with the Standard Mark II. Remember the comic book I showed you in the last Glyos recap? Well, he decided to do up a Kabuto Mushi to match the Mushi bug on the cover. Very, very cool. So yeah, it is in the classic brown and green. The original one was metallic green and metallic brown, done with part swapping. Here it's done all with paint, and a lot more details have been accentuated as a result. Looking very, very cool. I like standard releases because they tend to be, there's no homage to them, there's no nothing, there's just the original vision for the character that the artist had. So this is, for me, the identity of these particular toys. So that's always cool to see those originals updated, and he does look quite nice. But for something a little bit more familiar, Marty got into the homaging thing again with... It's a Chop Shop. It is a G1 Deluxe Insecticon homage. In a very similar shade of brown. It's a little bit more terracotta, a little bit more clay brown, and very, very nicely done in orange and silver paint. I love when he gets Transformer with these, and there's plenty of bugs to homage amongst the Transformers history. I love knowing that Marty's a geek because he keeps coming out with some really cool homages like that. The same wave also included a Masters of the Universe Modulock homage, which is also a really cool design. A very expensive set, though, because it's the full super painted figure and 2 sets of axis joints, so you could really do the Modulock thing of part swapping and creating your own monstrosities. And that's, like, perfect for the Glyos line, isn't it? Because they're all about that. Marty actually got to release some of the little Krayboth guys with these two for the first time, so it's always cool when someone else gets to dabble with the Krays, because, man, there's so many of those things now. Alright, so those were really cool. He also released a new Titan Mushi that was based on G1 Bombshell, so that was epic. Unfortunately, money a little bit thin when that came out, so I had to skip it, but extremely beautiful piece. Maybe I will have to go back and grab it one day, because this is going to get so busy. So much to go through. We're not even up to the Onel stuff. See, we can continue on. I think Spy Monkey is going to be up next. Those guys, now we'll admit, they had one release at DesignerCon that I don't have in hand yet, because it was supposed to be here today. Should be here tomorrow now. So we'll do that in the next recap. But we had a new set of Battle Tribes come out. The little He-Man-esque figures. Those guys are insane, by the way. When they do a new wave of Battle Tribes, it's like 10, 12 figures at a time. It's just, I don't know who has the money for it all. But I stick to just the ones that I really need to get a hold of. Like this guy. So, one of the things about Battle Tribes figures is loads of accessories. You get sword, mace, axe, shield for weaponry. You get the removable armor, 6 different heads. There's so many configurations and so many things you can do with them. But what I really pay attention to and what I really tried to get a hold of were all 6 of the releases that featured the heads for the first time. So again, I'm all about like original identity. So for this is the 6th and final one. The Wolf Mask finally got his own color scheme, looking very primal, very much the Barbarian Warrior. And I do like that they did the tampograph on the shield to give him a sigil. It's a kind of a warrior clan thing, and that's extremely cool. And it's something I hope I see a little bit more often in those figures. And amongst the others, stand still, stand tall, be a warrior. Amongst the others that got released, very simple, black and white. You see, it's kind of a theme. It's kind of a theme, isn't it? But extremely, extremely cool in its own way. It's very, very primal. You see just the skull kind of face paint right there on the face. It's very much, it's war paint, which is really cool. I actually really kind of dig this. It's a minimalist approach, but it works. And of course, they got into the glow in the dark, and I love my glows. I got the whole set of all 7 red glows too, which I almost showed off for this video, but this table's going to be loaded as it is. So I'm always happy when a glow in the dark comes out, because hey, I've got enough now that if I put them all on the same shelf, the shelf lights up so bright when I shut the lights off at night. You can still see the outline of the shelf. It's kind of freaky, but that was cool to see them release that. And then of course for that release, there's just tons of other colors they did at the same time. They did blank ones at the same time as well. I've got a couple blanks now for customs. I've got like 4 custom ideas in my head for them right now. So that's going to be a bit of a project. But still, extremely, extremely cool stuff. We can move on to Onel now. And Onel had 2 drops since the last time I spoke to you about the main Glyos company. But also in their side project, the Bitfigs were back. And now the Bitfig Faden, finally in the proper blue and gray Faden colors, and looking so good in this. He looks like one of the retro 8-bit amiibo. Like, I want to put him on like the blank amiibo stand for Mr. Game & Watch. Very, very cool. Eyes painted, arms painted. Legs didn't get paint. That's a little bit weird, but it's pretty deeply recessed, so I can kind of figure that'd be a little bit hard to get paint to. And again, the inside of his eyes are painted, so what do I know? But it's really cool. Like, the trophy release for the first release of the mold, that's fine, but Faden is light blue and gray, and it made me really happy to see this guy in full painted glory. That was very cool. And he came with a mini. Oh, it came with a mini. That's adorable. There's a little 1-inch tall, little 8-bit Faden. That's awesome. And what's cool about this is that for years, the art, and still to this day, the artwork that's used to promote new Glyos releases is old school NES 8-bits. So I've been seeing Fadens in this little blocky style for as long as I've been into Glyos. So to actually get official ones is actually a really, really cool thing. So that's cool. And right now there is another drop that just released. We'll touch on that a little bit later. I don't have it, but it's translucent green, because phase green is also a classic Glyos thing. But to other colors, to other toys. Previous drop was all about two new things. One of them was refreshing an old staple. So behold, this creepy guy. I want to say, God, I'm still not used to the new name. The new head sculpt, I believe, is called the Quilarian. It's something with a Q. I'm sorry. Like, Matt, your name schemes are insane. I can't remember them all. See? But same with the Vartorix. I'll stumble on it now, and I'll get it right later. But for now, it's a brand new head design for the Noboto mold, the little stubby, tiny alien in the Glyos spectrum. Now, here's the cool thing. I'll show you. I'm going to show you some Nobotos later on here in a bit. So don't worry about having to be reminded about what they look like. But the original Noboto head is very smooth, very round, no real sculpted detail except for these wedge-shaped eyes. And like most Glyos toys, he came with a second head, and that head was also very round and smooth with wedge-shaped eyes, and there's some ridges and a couple of little, like, indications of teeth, but nothing really too different. And I always thought that was weird, because it's hard to tell the heads apart sometimes. Well, that secondary head, the proto-clone head, is no more replaced by this brand new thing, and man, it's such a cool design. I love the way it looks. There's something about this pink head and two-tone purple armor that really hits a nostalgia point with me, and I can't remember what it is. I can't pull it out of my head, and he usually has homages in mind when he does these things. So if someone's got that, if someone knows what that was, let me know. It's driving me nuts right now. But yeah, this came in full force. There were a whole bunch and some extremely cool color schemes. I absolutely love how these guys look with the Gly armor. You know, it's very, because it's a very, like, short and stubby type of character in the first place. When you bulk up the chest and the arms and that, it just has this really interesting dynamic to it. So, very cool. And again, just showing the range of the Gly armor, because there it is. It's the exact same armor molding on the arms and the chest as you see right here. It's just painted differently. Two completely different figures that work with it. That's always a really impressive design job. So that goes there. He goes there. The other thing that particular drop of toys was all about was bringing back the old and kind of homaging some of the classic Glyos color schemes, some of which have not been seen in, since like the first waves of Glyos. One of them, and this is the one that keeps coming up a lot because you can already see one of them in the pile here, is the Spectre Force color scheme, which is glow in the dark with some nice seafoam green paint apps all throughout. Very, very cool. And this is the first time the Armorvore actually got this level. Originally, his other paint mask that's very thin, very minimalist paint got the glow-in-the-dark treatment. So this also means it's the first time that the new T-Rex-based head The Neo-Granthan head also got glow-in-the-dark treatment. But I love seeing glow-in-the-dark stuff. Boom! And seeing it fully painted like that. Extra cool. It was also, and this is what I meant about big homages, you have these two guys who were from very earliest waves of Glyos. This is the Mark II for the Eclipse and Frontier Fadens, originally done with part swapping. Now, just like the Mushi over there, done with full-on paint apps. So they look a little bit more solid, they look a little bit more dynamic, but they still have that kind of old-school vibe to them. And when I mean, like, a lot of paint went into these guys, I mean, like, a lot of paint. You can see, oh, you can't even see in that one. That was a bad. Here, I'll do it to the other one. And it's pointless at this point because you know what I'm going for. But hey, I'm committed to the bit now. The hands alone are completely painted. That's a white molding. That's white molded plastic. Like when Matt has a color scheme he wants to do, man, he does not spare the expense. But this has also meant that some Fadens came out that didn't have the Gly Armor attachments, which is a really good thing because Gly Armor, while really cool, does add quite a bit of expense to a Glyos toy. So anytime that standard Faden comes out, I find it's easier to get into the toy or to convince somebody else to give Glyos a try when something like that becomes available, because you can't really convince someone to buy a $15 figure that comes with a ton of parts, but ultimately is still a pretty tiny toy. So when you have an inexpensive option, it works wonders. So that's a lot. That's a lot of Glyos toys so far. We're still not done because the best wave, like one of the most excited waves I've ever had, was the most recent Onel design wave. Oh boy, sit your butts down for this. Not that I assume you're watching my videos while standing up. This has been like a 17-minute video already. Give your ankles a rest, guys. No, for this one, we are talking like one of the best homages ever. We are talking full-on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Glyos figures. Oh, the parody laws are strong with these. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, what was it? At least 20% different? Yeah, they get away with this. So yeah, here's the Noboto, no armor, with the original round head, like I said, and the round head turns out to be a pretty good canvas. Whew! So these were absolutely awesome to see. So yeah, we have plenty of Ninja Turtle vibes going on here. They all come with the colored bandanas painted onto their heads. The backpacks act as the shells, completely painted over in brown. Of course, the details don't match perfectly, but they get so close that you can really buy it. It works really, really well. And what's really cool is that they all come with weaponry. The weapons are borrowed from the Robo Force kit, so they can be configured into various things. Of course, they're not perfect because, you know, there's no real way to do Glyos chains for his nunchucks or anything. And of course, the swords are looking a little bit shabby there. There's no little spikes on the size, but I do love they all came with weapons, so you could configure them into similar weapons to what Ninja Turtles would wear. So you've got a full bow staff with Donnie here. And the other thing is, notice that even though it's 4 Ninja Turtles, but all of them have slightly different shades of green. Matt was very intent on making sure that they did stand out from each other like the original toy line did. You know, and like some of the later shows did, where, oh, they're all green, but they all have the different shades. And these are accurate to, like, the old shades. Don's a little bit more olive green. Mikey's a little bit more lime green. It all works. And, of course, Raph gets to be the rich green color. And now Matt is also very smart when he comes to these things, knowing that the red masked one also represents the old school Ninja Turtles, like pre-cartoon Ninja Turtles, where all of them had red masks. Smart enough to know that this was going to be the most popular and produced more of these than any of the others. And he was right. Give him credit, the man knows the market. This was incredibly fun, an incredibly cool homage. And oh man, the force was strong with this one. Behold, Bopper and Rocker. Oh man. Playmates. Ignore this video. This is all in good fun. It's all parody. It's all parody. So we have the Armor again. Here we have the mold doing a really impressive job of being Bebop. The vest is there. The shoulder pads make perfect replacements for the turtle shells. And the head actually works. It's got, you know, the right shapes to get the shades and the mohawk painted on. It's absolutely awesome. You can also flip the head around if you need the pig snout going and the ears a little bit more pig-like. But you don't have anything representing the shades for Bebop. And I feel that's where a lot of the identity is. So we'll leave them that way. Kind of prefer that. And then, of course, you have Rocker, who's using the T-Rex Grantham head. But it actually works. He's got, you know, he's got Bebop's, or he's got Rocksteady's like leather hat going on. Again, he's got the vest and the jacket look, and so much paint going into these guys to make the homages work. What was cool about these is, like I said before, the Armor in its entire history has only been painted 2 ways. You've got this one here, where you can see there's 2 different shades of color going in, and just about everything has a hit of paint. And then you have a very minimalist version, where usually the only things painted are what you currently see in black. You know, those are the 2 extremes in color and paint for the Armor. This is the first time that a huge paint mask has been used to create these homages. Like I just said, Matt does not spare an expense when he gets an idea for his toys. In a similar vein, they're also borrowing weapons from another Glyos kit. In this case, it is Colgrim, using his weaponry, his warp pack components, to create their signature weapons. And again, it's Glyos, so those are convertible into whatever weapon you imagine them using, or any weapon you remember from cartoon or video games. But it's a really impressive job to create those homages and still make them look so recognizable as the characters, even though the molds only just pass for those characters. Oh, but remember how the last time we saw the introduction of the Gly Ninja? We can't go without them, can we? If we've got Rocker and Bopper, then we also need, Rocksteady and Bebop, we need a Shredder. You know what this has? You know what this has as an advantage over the old school Shredder toy? A shirt. Never understood that. He was shirtless in every old school toy he had. It was weird. But here, very much based on the cartoon. I love the little eyes poking through. It's hilarious. Even has a little bit of the cape. It doesn't go all the way to the back. But hey, it does give you the right impression of the old shred head. And the same mold, of course, gets used without the Gly armor, because of course we got Gly armor rocking again. The same mold used without the armor to make foot soldiers. This, of course, was the first thing to sell out. Matt limits everything to 1 per release. You know, 1 toy for every customer until like the first hour, just to make sure everybody can get a hold of them. And then it's a free-for-all. And I think everyone was just waiting for that hour to tick down so they could bolster their foot soldier numbers, me included, because man, these are cool to see bunches of. Yeah, so that was so cool. That made for such a fun drop. You know, the weird thing is, like, I showed off my custom Krangboth a while back, like the little Krayboth guy done up as Krang, which was a really well-fit homage, but the Krayboths in this wave did not actually do that, unfortunately. I thought it was like a really good way of getting one last turtle character in there. Instead, it was a little foot soldier Cray, a little turtle Cray. They were kind of cute that way, and a couple other strays. And speaking of strays, this wave did include a couple of other random ninjas, particularly based on the 16-bit Genesis game Shinobi, which was kind of weird. So we have one based on the main ninja from the game, and there was kind of a dark version as well. It's I'm sorry, like, okay, like, I was never, like, I was a Ninja Gaiden guy. I wasn't a Shinobi guy, and I appreciate that Matt's homages for video game designs cuts deep sometimes, but this just felt out of place. Like I got to admit, when this was literally the only part of the wave that was not Ninja Turtle based in any way, so it's a little bit strange. So unfortunately, this one I think missed the mark a little bit. Still not bad. If you're a fan of the old school game, it's still a decent looking figure. And I think the dark version came out better, but I don't have it handy right now. But that's I don't know. I think everyone was super hyped up for the turtles, and nothing else really. No one else was really interested in anything but the turtle homages. Whew, my voice is like wrecked right now because I've been talking for like as fast as I can for like almost half an hour now, trying to get through every single Glyos toy I had for the last 3 months. And this isn't even all that got released. You know, this isn't even including a new Galaxor release that was done up like a He-Man Horde Trooper, or I should say She-Ra Horde Trooper, if you want to be technical about it. This didn't include a bunch of releases from all these companies I didn't get. It doesn't include the Outer Spaceman release that came out. It doesn't include the new Bitfig Faden that's in Phase Green. This Glyos is just hitting this point. Look at what we've got here. We've got space aliens. We've got armored, we got like armored wolf men. We got super colorful robots. We got super stark and basic looking robots. We've got giant warrior bug men, 8-bit aliens. We've got Ninja Turtle homages. We got little mini He-Man style guys, ninjas and aliens. We have spacemen masquerading as ninjas. So much variety in the realm of Glyos. And now, since this did come out at DesignerCon, we add in a Cthulhuid nightmare to the Glyos ranks. Meet the Biomass Monster. I showed off a resin of this a long time ago, and now it's in full production, and it's seriously some of the most fun I've ever had with a Glyos figure. So much fun, in fact, we're going to save it for a random review. So stay tuned for my full opinions on this toy, because this thing is a sight to behold, and it's some of the most fun I've had with a Glyos figure in a long time. We're going to look at him in depth. But for now, that is the realm of Glyos for the last 3 months, and what a realm it is. I'm going to go ice my throat down now and then swear to Matt Dowdy himself that I'm not going to miss another Glyos recap, because this is murder on my throat.